Here we go. We are on Lamed Zayin Amid Bees. We begin a Mishnah. We have a bunch of small Mishnayos now. So, Mirza Hashem, Wednesday night, we're going to have to see Rabavi. We'll have to take a poll about Wednesday night. Wednesday night is YSV Girls PTA. So I know you made it last time. You made it by the skin of your teeth. We'll have to see how many people are not Nagea. And we'll see. We'll see what Elam is holding. We'll see where we're holding in the Gemara. Okay. Yeah, Mirza Hashem. Slow. They say Ravolba went to a baby kiddush, and Ravolba asked, "Did he start davening?" They said, "For what? Baby was just born." He said, "For a shidduch." He said, "Rebel, baby said this is a baby kiddush." Rebel said, "No, for shidduchim, gotta start davening right away." So, l'chaim.
Too much tefillas.
Exactly. Okay, here we go. Really happens to be, we're at a shtickle hallmark moment in this parak. It's quite a long parak. If you slightly recall, we're mamish 7 blot in, and the first 7 blot have been dealing with what are the Daled Minim. Lulav, Hadassim, Arava, Esrog, Lulav Hagazel, Esrog, Hadassim, Aravos, different types, Ashira, Nidachas, Minumar, basic pieces, etc. Now, part 2 is the usage of the lulav. That's part 2 of this parak. So really, it's the second half of the parak. Stam, it just in our mind, it's easier to compartmentalize a little bit that way.
We're gonna do like a big chazara.
Avada, that's what they're doing right now. They're doing. The truth is, be'etzem, I would do a chazara now on 7 blot, but I'm a little bit nervous, so we're gonna go weiter and we're gonna keep on going. We're gonna keep on going. I feel the chazara has been strong. I'm nervous to weaken it by starting a big chazara, but avada, we can do a big chazara. But the next 4 blot, which is the second half of the parak, is all how, when, and in what parameters we shake the lulav. And the Daled Minim, of course. So says the Mishnah, Vehechon hayu minanin, and where, Vehechon, and where would they shake the lulav? B'hoidu Hashem, in the words, the pasuk, the verse, Haidul Hashem, Chilav Hasoif, the beginning and the end. What does that mean? So let's pause and immediately look at Rashi. Rashi teaches us Chilav Hasoif, Haidu Shebet Chilas HaPerek, Haidu at the beginning of the Perek, V'Haidu Shebet Seif HaPerek, B'Seif HaHalel, Min Haidu at Seif HaHalel Chada Parshasa, B'mini Parsha shall Sefer Tehillim. It's all one parsha. If you open up a Tehillim, it's all one continuing. So 2 haidus. Now we know that there are different minhagim. Nusach Svard shakes once by the first haidu and shakes once by the last haidu. That's Nusach Svard. Nusach Ashkenaz, I believe, shakes by the first 2 haidus. I say that because last year there was a lot of confusion. People thought you're supposed to shake twice. Lamaisa, that's Nusach Ashkenaz. But the Mishnah is talking about shaking.
So you are supposed to say it, right?
Very good. We need a resident Nusach Ashkenaz member. Bacher asked me tonight, Rabbi, how we davening Ashkenaz in yeshiva? Once you daven Sephardi, you can go daven Ashkenaz. Pasha, different religion. I said it here. I mean, so it happens to be Ramesh Feinstein as a tshuva that if you're going to switch nusach, Ashkenaz is the right nusach. But okay, yeah, but But either way, without getting too emotional, back to the Mishnah. The Mishnah is about changing at the first haidus and at the last haidus. Uba'ana Hashem Yishiana, and by Ana Hashem Yishiana Divrei Beisilo, Beishamayimrim, Af Ba'ana Hashem. Hatzlichana. Amar Rabbi Akiva teaches Rabbi Akiva. Soifa Yisi bir Rabbi Gamliel Rabbi Yeshua. I looked, I gazed at Rabbi Yeshua and Rabbi Gamliel. Shekol ha'am, the entire people's hayaminan in Esluvayim. They're all busy shaking. And they know Na'anuah, Yeshua and Rabbi were not shaking. Ella, Ana Hashem Mishin. First of all, Stam, we have to pause and take mention that for those who thought Hasidim are Anaya Zach, this is a Pashut Arayah to a Rebbe from the Mishnah over here. What's going on? Says the Mishnah, Rabbi Akiva, what was he doing? He wasn't davening. What was he doing? He was looking at the Rebbe. He was looking at Rabbi Gamliel. He was looking at Rabbi Yeshua. And he was wondering, everyone's shaking and they're not shaking. Rabbi Akiva, what about you? Stay there. He's looking at the Rebbe. That's what he was doing. So either way, that is the Mishnah. Says the Gemara. Again, just one detail I want to key you in as we started by mentioning that the second half of the parak is a new topic entirely. The first half of the parak was what are the Dalet Minim and all the psulim, etc. The second half of the parak is the how. How do we shake them? When do we shake them, etc. Says the Gemara, Na'anua, man dechar shemayo. Asks the Gemara. The Mishnah, what? Looked, gazed literally. Na'anua man dechar shemayo. Says the Gemara, who mentioned shaking? The Mishnah started, and where do you shake? Shake. Who says that you have to shake? Well,
in the Mishnah.
Chicken or the egg. The Gemara is asking, what's the source? Where do we know this from? So answers the Gemara. First, Rav Shuli, what you said, very good. First, the Gemara answers what you said. Very good. We're going to get to more answers. But first, the Gemara answers, Ha-sam kai. The Mishnah is going on over there. What's over there? Over there is back at Daf Chavtas. Now, what did the Mishnah say? The very, very beginning of the parak. Kol lulav shish v'shosh tzvachim. Kidei linanei aboy. Very good. Kosher. Vika Omar. And on that, heichon minaneon. When do we shake it?
Here.
Oh, so really, this is Mamish Ar Akdama. That the first 7 blot is one, we could call it like one volume. One volume, that's how I would coin it. We have the third parak of Sukkah, volume 1 is the first 7 blot, which is all the different, what is the Dalet Minim? Volume 2 is, and how. So the Mishnah by us is Mamish picking up from that first Mishnah. The first Mishnah said, as you mentioned, Kidei linanei aboy. So now our Mishnah continues. And where do you do it? Mamish, continuing, beautiful. Says the Gemara, Tanan Hasam, we learned in a Mishnah, Shtei Halechem, the 2 breads, so one of the karbanos, Ushtei Kivsei Atzeres, and the 2 sheep of Shavuos. These are 2 karbanos that are brought in Shavuos. Says the Mishnah, where's this a Mishnah in Menachos? Keitzad haya iseh. How did they do it? How did they do the hanafa? This was a very unique thing did by karbanos. They waved their karbanos. Maniach shtei alechem al gabe shnei akvasim. They took the 2 breads, they put it on top of the 2 sheep. Umaniach yodoi tachtehem, and they put their hands underneath the sheep. Umeinif, umoilich, umevi, umale, umayrid. You know what they did with the sheep and the bread? They did what we do with our lulav. They shaked it, molich, umevi, to and fro, male, umayrid, up and down. Just envision sitting there, picking up 2 sheep with 2 breads, and up and down and forward and backward. Mayridik. That's the hanafa.
The bread didn't fall.
Bread didn't fall. The sheep didn't fall. Kanim clearly were quite strong. Shenemar. Where do we know this from? Says the Torah. Pasuk in Shemais. Not really in Shemais, in Perach of Tes. Asher hunaf v'asher huram. That were waved and that were lifted. So says the Gemara. This is where we learn out the concept of waving. The concept of waving, but again, by where? Not by the Dalet Minim, which is a fascinating entity. You ask any person, what do we wave? I don't know. We wave the Dalet Minim. No, we wave karbanos. So these psukim, and actually what's interesting, and Rashi points out, that this pasuk is not really about the karbanos of Shavuos.
Make sure maybe used to wave people.
Oh, he waits kohanim. Kohanim, very good. That these psukim are not talking about actually the karbanos of Shavuos. These psukim are talking about stam karbanos. But here we learn out the concept of waving. Omar Rebbe Yochanan. Melech umevi. What does it mean that you go up and down? Or actually, melech umevi means to and fro, probably forwards and backwards. Lemi sha'arba ruchai shaloi. You're waving to he that the four winds, the four directions are his. Ma'aleh umayrid, up and down. Lemi sha'ashamayim ba'aret shaloi. To whom that the heavens and earth is his. Period. So if you look at Rashi for a moment, Rashi says, Lamisha Arba Rucha Shaloi, Mitzvah zu an oisin lishmoi, Kain Mare B'hanafasli. By the hanafa, by the act of waving the karbanos, we're learning that it's done for what? For Hashem. What are we doing when we're waving? We're portraying that the whole bria, the whole world is Hakadosh Baruch Hu's. Says the Gemara, Bimarava Masnuach. In the West, they learned as follows. Amar Rav Chama bar Ukva, Amar Rav Yisi Rav Chanina. Now it's another pshat in what the waving is doing. Again, let's just realize we're on a slight tangent, not really a tangent, because this is going to be the Iker Mikar for waving, but we're learning what is the purpose of waving. Says the Gemara, you know what the purpose of waving is? The pshat number one is to show that everything is Hashem's. Pshat number two, Moilech umevi, kedei la'atzar ruchais, ra'is, to withhold, to hold back negative winds. Ma'ale umayre. That was clearly a mistake. Okay, I don't know why my ringer's on. I apologize. Ma'ale umayrid, up and down. Kedilatzar tololim ra'im, to withhold the bad tal. What's tal? Do. To withhold the bad dues. So pshat number two is, what's the wavings doing? The wavings are doing, they're holding back the evil winds and the evil dues. So two different pshatim, what exactly we're doing by these different forms of waving.
Very, very different.
They are very different, but they're also the same. Why are they different? Why are they the same?
Different in Svara, they're the same in the direction.
Well, that's true. But even in the Svara, they're be'etzem connected at its root, because the same way to dictate Hashem, everything is the Hashem's, is thereby going to dictate that Hashem, do not give us evil winds and do not give us evil dues. But in Achanami, you are correct.
When it says Marava, is talking about in Bava or in Yerushalayim?
Bimarava means in the west. So we are learning Talmud Bavli.
Okay.
So we are where? In Bavel. The west of Bavel is Eretz Yisrael. Eretz Yisrael. I'm actually.
I don't know, that's what I was thinking, but it seems too obvious.
No. I think it's Pashut. I'm just questioning myself. Why am I questioning myself? Let's take 1 second. I don't even know if it's here. No, it's not here. I think it's Pashut. I think in Marava. Okay, let's continue. I'll look it up as we continue. Says the Gemara Vayit. Amar Rav Yosi bar Ovin, Vitema Rav Yosi bar Zvida. Says the Gemara. Says Rav Yosi bar Ovin in the name of Rav Yosi bar Zvida. Yeah, in the west area. Says Rav Yosi bar Ovin in the name of Rav Yosi bar Zvida. Amar Rav Yosi bar Ovin, Vitema Rav Yosi bar Zvila. Zoyse Maris. From here we learn. Now, what's the Zoyse Maris? If you look at Rashi, he says, that which we just said, that what is the waving doing? The waving is holding it back, these bad winds, etc. Shiyare mitzvah ma'akvin es haparaniyos. The Shiori mitzvah. What's Shiori mitzvah? A very interesting term. Look at the top Rashi, and Rashi says, mitzvah shehi shirayim. Mitzvah, which is the remnant. The leftovers. That what? She'enoi ikar. It's not the main point. La'akiv kapara. To hold back the kapara. Afal pikein chashuvihi la'akiv esapranis. Says the Gemara, when you're waving the lulav, is that the ikr mitzvah? When you're waving the carbon, is that the ikr mitzvah? Of course not. It's the bringing the carbon. It's the netilas lulav. But says the Gemara, this auxiliary part of it is where we probably would shatayich it. This sidebar part of it, even that part, ma'akvin esa paraniyos, even the non-essential parts have this power to avert, to withhold punishments. Shaharei, where do we see this from? Tenufa, the waving. The waving is what? Shiyari mitzvah. It's the remnants. It's a sidebar. And look at Rashi very, very critically. 3 lines down, Rashi says, Ve'enoi me'akeves. Let's say you don't wave. This is particularly referring to the karbanos, the shtei alechem, the 2 loaves of bread. Let's say you fail to wave them. You're still yates the mitzvah. So even a non-integral part still is ma'akiv is a paranios. Shrei tenufa sheri mitzvah v'itzeres ruchais. It holds back the winds v'tzulam ram and the bad dews. V'amar Rava v'chein bilulav. Says Rava, the same thing that we just saw that we do by the karbanos, we should do by the lulav, the same form of waving. Yeah.
The bracha we say is on the tilas.
Good.
I'm shaking a little.
Oh, so what does that show you?
So it's I think it's proving this point.
Very good.
Even the whole
100%.
shake it, we
So if you
learn it out from
100%. If you ever see, you'll see some from people that come over to you after davening and go, let's go to people, can I borrow your lulav? What do you want my lulav? They'll come to us, take it for a moment. To yaitzi different forms of lulav and all the different chumras. What do? They don't start shaking the whole thing. Because the shaking is a sidebar. Shaking is a detail. The ikr is to pick it up. Once you pick it up, very good yaitzi. Chaim belulav. Rav Acha bar Yaakov mamti la. Rav Acha bar Yaakov would move mamti la umaisi la, would go to and fro, front and backwards. And Omar, you know what he said? Dinegera pe'ene desitna. This is an arrow in the eye of the Satan. Dinegera. This is din is this. Gira is an arrow, Aramaic. Pe'ene desitna in the eye of the Satan. Says the Gemara, V'lav milsahi. This is not true. V'lav milsahi. The asi la gurebe. You shouldn't say this. You know why? Because if you go and you gloat and you go and you prav, oh, I have the Satan in my back pocket. You know what you're doing? You're like gurebe. You're inciting the Satan. Never want to say, I got you, Mr. Satan. No. Not a smart idea. So says the Gemara, don't prav over the Satan. They'll say like gurebe, you're coming to incite the Satan. We'll pick it up from here.